My name is Chude Jideonwo. This is a special episode of With Chude. It's part of the Clout launch. Today's episode is all about Clout, but of course, I will still do what I do, having conversations about the things that truly matter, about our hearts, our minds, and our spirits. And today I have a very brave woman who's sharing her story for the first time.
Yes.
Anne
Yes.
Ukoh.
Yes.
She wears a coat of many colors.
Yeah.
She is a singer, a writer, a businesswoman.
Yeah.
And she's here to share a really personal story it's my privilege to hear from her for the very first time. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Jude.
So as we're talking, you mentioned that it was after you reached out to me
Yeah.
that you told your mom
Yes.
what had happened. And you were just telling me that before we got on air
Yeah.
about your mother's reaction. Now, before people know what it is, how did your mother react? And was she comfortable with you sharing this?
All right. So, like I said, when everything was happening, like all the experiences, I didn't tell my mom because partly because I felt she was, I don't know, just how I put it. It wasn't something I was born in a religious home. All right. So, there are some things that come with all those kind of, some packaging and everything. And I just wasn't ready at that point to tell her, and, But when I told her about what happened later on, she just looked at me like, wow, why did it take you so long? And why didn't you involve me? And a whole lot of stuff. And she was really, really sad. But later on, she just got over it like, okay, you're strong now. You don't even act like you've been through anything, But I feel bad because I tried my best. That, according to what she said she tried her best to train us, to protect us because she actually did. All of this happened in the university.
Right. And so for those who are watching, so we're talking about rape.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what you shared with your mom was that while you were in university,
yes,
like you went through an experience of rape.
Yes.
Not once, not twice.
Not twice,
3 times.
Yes, 3 times. 3 different scenarios.
Yeah.
3 different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really don't want to really go into details because it will make me tear up and everything.
That's
but it got a point, like I think the second and third, I actually kind of normalized it.
Yes.
I felt numb. Do you understand? Like I could not tell anybody. I feel like so I just didn't want to add so much emotions like I did it because I was into so much depression. I tried taking drugs. Not really drugs, sorry. I tried to do is it Ukoh, what they call it? And thank God for everything. That it didn't really affect me in how will I put it. I tried to take it a lot of times. I didn't get high.
So you were taking it so that what? To get over the pain?
Yes, to numb it, to just take it away. Like, because I was, in school then, people would actually take all these things to make themselves feel better and everything. So I tried to take it at one point but I wasn't feeling anything. All right? I was like, oh, this is not working because the pain is still so strong. So I tried drinking. I went to a club. I followed someone. I took drink. And I noticed one thing drink did for me was to make me sleep more. All right?
Okay.
So, yeah. I actually felt that was the easiest thing. Just sleep away the pain. Even if you wake up, you try to sleep again. So I had this neighbor in my school then. He's an outside guy who used to be my friend, my very close friend. And he saw me with a bottle of beer. I don't like to drink. I don't even like the taste of alcohol. But because I just needed something to just numb that pain, I took drink. And the guy saw me with a bottle, my second bottle or something like that. And the guy was like, this is not you. This is not you. Why are you doing this? You don't want to look at yourself 10 years from now, a drunkard. Because I know I just started, but I know that was gonna be addictive for me. You know, like I was gonna take it continuously because every time I feel pain, I'll drink, and then that word touched me. You know, it really did touch me, and that was the end. I didn't take any drink, so I still felt the pain. So I started looking for how to end my life. You know, because at a point I felt like I was cursed.
Yes, we're talking about that.
Yeah, I felt like I was cursed because who would they rape once, twice? And it was actually in different scenarios because one thing my mom used to tell me, and most religious people always say, dress well.
Yes, yes,
Dress well.
Yes.
And all the times I was raped, I dressed well.
Yeah, I was listening to a pastor, someone I respect this morning, Bishop T.D. Jakes, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And he was saying something like, "Oh, if you're not selling, don't put a sign on it." And I thought that's a very dangerous message because often when these kinds of things happen, it doesn't. You don't have to dress anyhow, do anything.
Yeah, it's the other person on the other side. Yeah, like because I just had to think if they could just have this self-control, something, it would save me a lot of years of pain and anguish, you know. And on my own end, I wasn't being foolish, do you get? But I was being careful, but I guess I wasn't being careful enough to avoid all these kind of things. And
what do you mean by when you say you're being? I'd like you to finish that thought, but after that, I'm going to ask you. When you say you're being careful, what do you mean?
Okay, like they would say avoid some kind of places. I wouldn't go there. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So truthfully, I can't really go into details of everything because it's very, very. It still hurts me. All right. But then I was being careful in my own way. All right. And nobody wants to be raped. I don't know. For me, I don't want to be raped. And for it to happen 3 different times, like I said, it was really hurtful, and I was trying to end my life many ways. And I mentioned before I was born in a Christian home, right?
Yes.
So we actually believe so much in God. But at that point, I was looking for a therapist.
Right.
I was looking for a therapist, but some African parents don't believe in all these things. They don't really believe in all these things. So it's, and also I was not able to afford
therapy.
For myself.
You didn't do any therapy?
I didn't.
So first was the idea that because you grew up in a religious home, this is not something that comes naturally to your family.
Yes.
And then secondly, even when you wanted to get the help, you couldn't find. So how did
by
you,
myself.
Right, which is why. So why we did this interview is I want to talk about that whole process
of
healing.
Yeah, good.
So how did you now, without the
Drugs.
God of your parents was not able to help you, drugs and all of this were not really able to help you.
Yeah.
You couldn't afford the therapy. So what did you do?
Yeah, I prayed. I prayed because, you know, truthfully, I know there are Christians out there that are depressed. You might give your life to Christ. I'm going to be real. Give your life to Christ. Do worship in church. You might still be depressed. And I can recall so many times I would enter into the new year because whenever I don't know, it's a normal practice for us Nigerians when we are entering into the new year, we have something we are praying for, asking God for So prior to entering the new year, before all these experiences, I would ask for blessings. I would ask for big stuffs and all. But after all this experience, I started asking for just one thing. I wanted to be happy again. I wanted to smile genuinely. I didn't want to put up a facade. It's not like I wasn't smiling. It was a facade, you know. You only saw that happy girl outside, but someone was hurting on the inside, you know. So I started praying. I started committing myself to God. And I'm going to give you the last episode that changed everything for me because I attempted suicide many times. I schooled in North America University. So we had the beach, and I stayed close to the beach. So I most times wanted to jump into the So most times I would just see someone, and then I wouldn't even enter before they come and rescue me. That would be a waste
of effort.
So the last attempt was after school, some years after school, because I was still battling. You know, I just could not tell anybody, and I needed something, all right? So coupled with everything I've passed through and more things that like issues of life and everything, you know. So it seemed really held me, and I went to a friend's house. I was not with my mom at that time, and I was like, you know what, I'm ending this, like, but I didn't tell my friend. I just said I wanted to use the toilet. Okay, I wanted to use the toilet. I wanted to take the chemical to drink it. All right, and I don't know what made my friend enter the toilet, and then I was this close, and then he held my hand, and he bundled me inside his car and took me to my pastor's house. And they prayed, yeah. But at that point, I just felt so numb, because when they were even looking at me, like the pastor was looking at me, like checking my hand, like, am I an addict? Am I taking drugs? Checking if I inject, because I was just laughing. You know, I don't know. That's why I tell people that are depressed, they don't actually see any hope in life anymore. They at that point they can actually be naked, like whatever.
Yeah, unless so depression is like darkness inside your spirit, and then people can't understand unless you've been depressed. Unless you've been there, because
people take it lightly. People just feel like, oh, you're looking for attention. People feel like, oh, this, oh, I me on the personal, I wouldn't do that for attention. Like that's crazy, you know, because I didn't even tell people. You get, because I didn't want you to feel, oh, she's looking for attention. So I just wanted to end my life like nobody cares. You know?
Which is, I want us to explore that a bit, because that is huge. So, because we live in a society where people are quick to judge you. And they be like, oh, you know, she's just looking for attention. Why is she doing this? And what it does is that it pushes people to the other end, where they're like, okay, I don't want your attention. I just want to go.
I just want to go. Like, you don't care about me.
Yeah.
So what's the
point of even sharing this? You're going to mock me.
You're going to mock me.
Question
you're going to tell me,
intention.
oh, just get over it.
Yeah.
Or it's go. All this kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And what's the need? Like.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Some of us we don't look for that pity party. Like, oh, come and pity me and all those kind of things. Sometimes you just need hope.
Just need hope. So when your friends took you to this pastor, what happened?
Okay.
Was there hope? Did you find it?
Okay, it was looking at me. I was even at that point I was drinking, I think, one soda like that.
That's when you were with the pastor.
Yes.
Okay.
And he grabbed it from me.
Okay.
And he was like, is there a drug in this thing?
Okay.
Because I was laughing. I was just laughing, like, you know.
After such a big thing had happened.
Yes, like, I was like, why? My mind was, why did that guy save me? Just leave me, let me die. You know. And when the pastor was looking, he took the drink, he tasted it, was like, is there a drug in this thing? And his wife used to work in the NDLA, so he was like, should she get me tested? I was like, I'm down. Get me tested, drugs don't work on me, you know. And it was very, very funny, because he just prayed a normal prayer, like, God help her and all this kind of things. But me, deep down in my heart, I'm like, I've been praying for years.
If God was going to answer.
Yeah, if God was going to answer, like, you know. And then they took me home to my house, and I found out that me by myself, because I was like, okay, God, you don't want me to die. I cannot live this life, because what is very important for me is my peace of mind. That's why I try not to put my hand in things that would affect my conscience. Peace of mind, very key for me. And if I don't have it, it's not worth living. Like, this life is not worth living. And I was like, if you don't want me to die, if you don't want me to leave this earth, because I've tried. You know, people attempt suicide once and they succeed. I attempted a lot of times. I can't count. People will tell you 3, will tell you 4. I can't count. And if you're going to save me, you're not going to save me to
live
me life like this. This is not what I want. This is not how I want to live, you know. Even if I have all the money in this world, if I'm not happy, it's worth nothing. And I just prayed that prayer in my mind. I didn't pray it out. I felt God just felt like, she has reached that point where, you know. And then all of a sudden, I started finding peace. Like, peace. I don't know how to describe it, but this is something I know people find it hard to believe that I got my wellness without going to a counselor, without going to a therapist. I couldn't afford one, all right? And even if at that point I was working, I could, but I just didn't feel like I felt this was too strong for a therapist to even work on. Okay? So God by himself helped me. Like, I was just asking Jesus, you know, and I found out I was having peace little by little. So I was like, let me test this thing. If it's really real. Because sometimes when things happen, it would bring that sadness I have inside. Like external, let's say I don't have money or I'm broke or something. That sadness I already have inside, and being broke and everything will just add together and to be so intense. So I was like, okay, let me just wait. If I don't have money now, maybe this thing will come back. And I found out that even times where I didn't have money, times where things were not really working out externally for me, there was this peace on the inside. So one thing I want people to know is this, that even when you can't afford, just like I could not, or you feel, you've gone to, because some people actually go to therapists, and yet that they will still end themselves, okay? I believe God works. God works. For real, I don't know, people might feel, maybe you're trying to be all religious. But
I think the thing that's remarkable, is that when you're talking about God that you're talking about, it wasn't because you went to a church or went to a prayer session or did a deliverance or did anything. So to that extent, it's not really religious more than it's spiritual, which is you spoke to by yourself.
By myself. Yes.
God.
Yes.
And he answered. So it's not even about I believed in this or I did this.
Yeah. You know, the wonderful thing is, you know, I mean, I thought I was born a religious home, so I used to feel that when you act right, God would actually answer you. I wasn't living right.
Yeah.
I wasn't living right to earn.
Exactly, yes.
To earn that answer.
Yes.
But I just know there's a God out there.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
And I just had to connect. So it's for many people that they just feel, my story is for as many people that they don't even believe there is a God.
Yes.
Just talk to someone.
Yes.
God, you're here.
Yes.
Just help me.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
It's, you know, because at that moment where it's so dark.
Yes. 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 Yes.
For real, like, I don't know. God will not allow our friends or our enemies pass through depression, but there's no hope at that other side. No light. You don't see anything. Nothing makes sense. The only thing that makes sense is death. And the way it will be painted is this death is an escape.
Yeah.
When you die, when you end your life, everything is going to end. You're going to find that peace you're looking for.
Yep.
And it's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie. It's a big lie.
And you know this for sure. So, you know, I'm glad that we had this conversation and we are having this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
Because you know, there's so many across the world. There's so many ways that people have gone through dark experiences and come out of it. And often we only hear some type of stories. So I've spoken about seeing a therapist. I've spoken about this thing. I've spoken about meditation in my own personal life. I've talked to guests who say, well, I did this, I did this, I did that. And those are important. People need to know that it's good to get help. I always recommend my therapist and be like, meet her. I put it on my social media. So those things are important. But it's also important because for people to know that sometimes the universe just comes through for you. Like, and that thing you said, like, people say, if you grow up in a religious home, you have to act right to get God's blessing.
To get God's blessing.
But you were not
I wasn't acting right.
You were not following the rules.
Yes.
And still, if there was a God,
came through. Yes.
God came through for you. That's powerful. And so let's come forward a bit. Now that you've shared this, and I remember I was speaking there, and I said we don't need to talk about the story, the details of what happened. We talk about the healing process. In sharing it now, and this is the first time you're talking about this. You know, you were telling me that even you've been in these studios before, and you were here. You
for my song,
exactly, for your music, and you didn't share any of these at that time. Two things. How is it? I want you to go back and look at going through this alone. What is that like? And what would you say to a person who is going through this alone?
All right. I feel like I'm going to get emotional. Yay,
I'm
don't
sorry.
cry, don't cry. All right. Going through it alone. Okay. I feel a little bit comfortable to share one of the experiences.
Okay.
It was hard. I remember when I was first raped, I could not call anybody.
Hmm.
You know, even in a society where you're raped and they feel it's your fault. In fact, even if it's not your fault, they look for a scenario to paint, oh, just label it. It's her fault one way or the other. And I could not call anybody. Guess who I called?
Oh.
My rapist. I felt I've fallen. How more could I fall? He knows he was the one that caused it. You're the only person that can buy me drugs.
Wow.
Yeah. And I pleaded. I begged him to help me. Wow. Yeah. So, that's how far I can go actually.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
To as many people there, because I went through all the experiences alone. I didn't tell anybody any. The three. And here's the thing, to anybody watching, listening, and you must have been through this, or some of these house helps that would be molested constantly by, number one, I would say get help. Okay? Someone you trust. I didn't trust anybody. Or I didn't feel safe. All right? And did I just say number? I said number one. First, God, please, because He's the one that will not judge you. He is the one that would help you, give you that strength you never thought you had.
I just repeat, by God, you don't mean the religion, you don't mean the mosque, you don't mean the
I
temple.
mean a personal
You mean Yes.
Yeah. Because you don't need to go to church before you get healed. In fact, the church is filled with sick people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to get their healing, but only God can give you that healing. Like your personal. Because I think a lot of things happened in my life. God had to drag me away from religion. It had to let me know that I was loved even before I thought of acting right. Religion tells you need to act right to be loved.
Beloved, yes. Preach. I wish I had my shekere here. If I had my shekere here, I would have raised it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Religion will tell you have to do this way. And some people struggle.
Yeah.
And they just, hide themselves from the presence of God.
Yes.
Because of what people
have told them that you have to be holy to come to God. Yeah.
So, to anybody out there who might be experiencing it or who must have, ask God for help. And here's the thing, whether you believe it or not, a way, like God always makes a way. But you just have to keep asking, even if you don't get instantly. Because He sees everything. That's the first for me. And number two, ask God to lead you.
Right.
Ask Him to lead you. He might even bring the right therapist your way, because it's not all therapists that can help you. It might bring the right therapist your way, it might bring the right counselor your way, It might even tell you what to do. Maybe meditate every day, maybe read this passage, maybe do this, do that. And one passage, I forgot to add one passage that God placed in my heart that actually helped me. Like even when I can't even open my Bible to read. Isaiah 41 verse 10.
Right.
Fear thou not, for I am with thee.
Right.
Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. I will help thee. And that was, I think right now that I recall, that was my therapy. Yeah. Because I could not afford one. So every time I opened that passage, it spoke to me.
Yeah.
And I would just hold the Bible in my chest like, this is what you're saying to me.
Yeah.
And I would feel peace. And year by year I got stronger,
Right.
and I'm better. So please don't kill yourself. Please don't. Like, And I know this is a very stupid word to tell someone that wants to end his or her life, because like, when somebody wants to just end their life, they are so resolute, like, this is what I want to do. So saying don't kill yourself is not real. But please, before you even try it, just ask God for help.
Just ask God for help.
Yes, because if I just say don't kill yourself, you'll be like, guy, like, that's the only way I've seen. You know, ask God for help first, because He will give you that strength, one way or the other. You know. No.
Right. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
I just want to ask now. So now, and you had said the thing. There's an important point you made, which is that you thought that you were cursed.
Yes.
Because these three things. Now, first, I've had a lot of. So for some reason, over the past 1 year, I've become more conscious of the rape epidemic that we have in Nigeria. So I do know that being raped more than once is common for people who have suffered rape once. Because what happens is, what I've heard from rape survivors is, if you have gone through that debasing experience, it even affects the way you see yourself, making it easy for predators, so to speak, to force themselves on you. So that is but it's like there's something you want to say about that.
Yeah. You know, just like I told you, I said the first experience really hit me, and the second and the third, I said I wasn't going to make a fuss about it.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I said I wasn't going to make a fuss about it. Like, even if I didn't want to do it and I struggled and everything, I wasn't going to make a fuss.
Yeah.
You know, and truly, you're right. It made me see myself in a very reduced way.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I didn't feel like I was worth something.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things that made me feel like I was cursed.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, I actually had a lot of negative tags to myself because of everything.
Yeah. So what I want to take out of that is that after you went through this process of healing, it turned out you were not cursed.
Yeah, right.
It turned out that you were not cursed. So it was like these people had inverted your sense of self and reality.
Yes.
But that wasn't your reality. Your reality was that you were not cursed. You were simply surviving these moments. And so all through these years, you've been working in this healed, free state. Yes. And now, like when you told your mom, was there any trauma that came from sharing it with your mom, or
on her side,
from your side, or it was just you were at the stage where you could just share this without feeling all of this pain?
I shared with my dad. My dad was sick for, I guess, a week or something like that.
Right.
But he didn't tell me it was because of it. But the timeline, like,
you
after,
could see him reacting to this. Yeah.
And then my mom, she's a strong woman, and she also saw that I wasn't, because she knew times where they would call her that I wanted to end my life.
Right. Oh, she knew.
Yes.
So now she.
But she didn't know what
was.
She just felt, I was being too emotional, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I told her, and she knows the kind of life I'm living right now, and she's like, wow, thank God for everything.
Thank God for everything.
She was sad though, because no mother would hear that, but she took it better than my dad. Yeah, she took it better than my dad.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very glad. I'm very grateful to you for sharing this.
Thank you for having me.
Because like we're saying before the show, every time we share these stories, we make it easier for other people to share their stories, because there are so many people with these stories.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, you did mention something I want to reiterate to those who are watching. If you need help, there's a lot of help available. Lagos State government has a toll-free line for women or men who have dealt with rape, or any gender, to be honest. There's also, if you go on Twitter and just go to She Writes Woman, as an NGO dealing with rape, there is Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative money. They are great, helping people who are dealing with depression and suicide. If you go to the Joy Inc. website, which are my organization, if you go to the joyinc.xyz and search for help help. You will see resources of numbers, therapists that you can reach out to find help. And like she said, sometimes, and even though you're a Christian, we're not just talking about Christianity now. There's, if the people who practice Judaism, in one of the verses is by the prophet Jeremiah, which is that you will seek me and find me if you search for me with all your heart. And no mediator, no helper, just searching.
Yeah.
And your story really says that if you ask for help,
yeah.
I think it's Albert Einstein that said, the question to ask is this a benevolent universe? Is this a benevolent universe? And your story shows that yes, it is. There is help, even if we can't see it immediately. Thank you so much, Anne, for sharing this.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been a special episode of With Chude, with yet another brave soul helping all of us be human together.